so that you can make a D&D have those free-to-play addiction type mindsets. I used to hand players a little note card that had a character-tailored secret mission for them to do. Get 2 critical hits in the session, or deal a bunch of damage. Or it might have been just to, in role-playing, get one of the other players to say a funny word like tuna. There was a lot of different missions I could give players. Sometimes it was based on their backstory, where they were going to have the chance to resolve something from their backstory. And the rewards varied from experience points to a boon or a mystery that they would not know what the reward would be, but I would have it written down and reveal it to them later. Lots of different successes with it. I wanted to see what everyone else thought of the concept.
Okay, when I read this, the question for this, I took it like in a full-on serious thing and not necessarily like secret missions that just to do stuff pretty much out of game, in game kind of thing.
That's fine. We can explore whatever came to your mind, and
so
that's great.
When I thought of secret missions, it really hit in my head about how potentially these sort of things can have players work actively against a group, which may also disrupt the player dynamic at the table.
Yep.
So, and for me, in order for secret missions to work, you really have to build a level of trust with the play group, depending on how characters build their character alignments, etc., personalities of the player and the character that they're playing, and also that player relationship between them and their character, and the DM respecting that, because some players have a little bit more self-insert into their character, while other players can pretty much disassociate and be like, I'm playing a character and this is how I actually am. The way I've handled it so that I can kind of avoid this disruption, I could consider them like open secret missions. The characters themselves don't know that this is the mission that's going on, but the players themselves do, so that they kind of understand how this player is going to role play this out, so that they can act accordingly. Obviously, table to table is really dependent. Really solid, strong players won't act on meta information. My play groups has trusted enough and played with enough for a while now that we can actually have evil aligned characters in the party and not necessarily have them be utterly disruptive of the game. And that's what we're having right now in my Avernus game. One of the players is a warlock of Levistus, and I pretty much gave him a mission. Hey, this MacGuffin, this magic item, I need you to get it for me. And it's also the main magic item that the party needs for various other plot points that's going on. The character's trying to navigate this, but everybody out of game knows that this is a thing. So they're not necessarily acting on that information within their character. And they kind of know that my player is doing this because that's what his character was asked to do by his servant.
When you said like it can cause some friction,
yeah,
you totally can introduce that with these missions you give players, right? Say something like they know will put them at odds with another player character, or something they don't know and it's going to like reveal something from backstory, you know? Like, don't take that doll off their waist that's tied to their belt. They'll chop your hand off. Maybe they didn't know that. They just thought it was just some little doll they had, you know? Another thing you can do, and I've done a video about improv skills to help with role-playing, and one of the things is players with their characters should try to find common ground despite their differences. And one thing you can do with a secret mission is say to a character who you know maybe is not very gelled with another character, and say, find common ground through roleplay with that character, and you will be rewarded. And you could even do that secretly to both the characters, so they think that like, oh, how do I get that person to do it? But really, like, the both of them are like, it's kind of like being at a prom dance and like both people want to dance, but like they don't approach each other, you know? But that you can reinforce the behavior you want to see and help them with their role playing if they're a little unsure of what to do with these little cues. It's almost like a cue card. They see it as a fun little reward or a side quest, you know, but to you it's kind of aiming the game the way that you think would make the game more enjoyable for them. And we just had a question all about experience points and different levels, and kind of aiming character behavior based on the mechanics of the game. And so this is a great way to kind of feed into that.
Pretty much the way I've used these sort of open secret missions is to really kind of help my players point them back in the direction of the main plot at times. So they think they're having a side mission, that they're going to do this cool thing, and then they don't realize over time, oh, it's hooking back into the main thing. Oh, crap. This what I'm doing is causing this chain reaction of events. And for me, based off how they react off that, I'll just adapt and change the story wherever I need to react to what they're doing and have an actual effect on the world that they're playing in.
Josh, that's brilliant, because a lot of players don't like to, like, metagames say, hey, DM, we don't know where you want us to go, just tell us. That's not fun. But if you get them there in this sort of way, it doesn't feel like railroading, and they didn't feel like they had to stop and, like, unimmerse themselves.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's a meta gift you give them to give
Yeah.
them a little mission, like it is meta. It doesn't feel as like meta or unimmersive. That's brilliant.
I've actually never heard of what you've done before, but I actually think that sounds like a lot of fun. It almost seems like a type of a board game or something where you have, like, you get a card and you're not like supposed to say certain words or whatever else. You got this thing and you're trying to do all these weird things. So that might be something I might try at some point, but I've never done it before. The closest thing I have done, because I don't want to give up my time right now and I want to share a little bit of a story, is we were playing a Ravnica one-shot, and everyone was from the Dimir Guild. And if you're not familiar with Ravnica, the Dimir Guild is a spy network. And you actually, most of the times, you are actually fronted as being a member of one of the other 10 guilds, but you usually go on a mission or whatnot. Well, the entire party had, their mission was to protect the owner of a nightclub. And so that's what they all went there. But secretly, for each of them, I gave them all a separate mission. One of them had to find one of the bankers and obtain a freshly, newly minted coin that nobody has seen yet, because there's going to be a few members of the Orzhov guild that were there, and they're mostly bankers and things like that. So I gave them that mission. I gave another one a mission that there was someone that was in the form of a doppelganger, and then I don't even remember what the other one was, but it was kind of fun to watch them. And since they're Dimir agents, they got to keep all that secret anyway. So they've got the main thing they're trying to focus on, but then they're like nonchalantly trying to do all of this other stuff. And it was really cool to kind of see them secretly do it around in character. And it was a lot of fun. But I do like your idea of those secret missions. I think it'd be kind of cool to maybe get like a stack of cards or something and just randomly give them something. And maybe even the DM doesn't know. And if they do it, they like flip the card over and be like, oh, that's awesome. You know, inspiration or, you know, advantage for you. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, that would be an interesting way to do it too. Put it face down, and if they kind of know you well enough that like they kind of know what might be on their card, like role-playing moments, those sorts of things, it can keep them engaged. And then when you say, good job, flip your card, they'll be like, yes, you know, that sort of thing. That's really cool. And you got me thinking. You said it was like a board game, so I started thinking of when it's been used on me in modules. And one example is Rime of the Frost Maiden. Everyone starts off with a secret, and they're not supposed to want to share it. Some of them are really mundane. Some of them are mechanical things, you know, and those can be kind of interesting. I don't think Rime of the Frost Maiden lived up to the potential of those little gifts that they give players early on, but you could have some fun with it. And also, my wife ran a one-shot where, kind of like the Ravnica one, where everyone was a spy, and we were all working together, but at the same time, everyone kind of had a different motive, where someone, like, we were going to, like, a masquerade, and someone needed to steal an item from there, someone else needed to do whatever, and that was really fun, especially as a one-shot where you know, like, it's just kind of going to be whatever, and so, like, half the party was doppelgangers and stuff. Like, it was kind of funny, but yeah. Fred, what are your thoughts on this?
I've done secret missions in homebrew and in pre-made adventures. I think I made significant number of mistakes when I applied it to my homebrew. I saw it applied, not completely, but partially in The Lost Mine of Phandelver. Those sort of secret missions that they have there, which are more like backgrounds with goals. One of them in particular is a secret, essentially, for the rogue, but it doesn't work. It's confusing. I just never saw it sort of pan out correctly. Hoard of the Dragon Queen, although a complete pile of shite to run, and not a particularly good adventure, one of the things it did have in the back is a table with a number of different sort of things that were linked to different aspects of the story as you would play through, that players could pick up, which were in some respects like secret missions. They weren't necessarily things that anybody else would know, certainly not the characters. I've used those and they worked reasonably well. I think the thing that I found with using secret missions is it's fine to have them as long as everybody gets one, because as soon as somebody realizes that they didn't get one, and do not think as a dungeon master that the players won't figure it out. Whether somebody tells them, oh, yeah, he gave me a secret mission, and even though you said do not tell anybody, they will do it anyway, okay? So you cannot hide this, and so don't try. because it won't work. So everybody's got to have a secret mission. The other thing that I found is that it's great for players. Players love this sort of thing because they think it's like it's their part of their character. It's their thing. It's the thing that's important to them. Occasionally what can happen by accident is somebody else in the party might complete the secret mission without realizing they were completing the secret mission that somebody else was supposed to do. I've seen that happen. That can be somewhat troublesome. Some people respond well and some people do not. I think the biggest problem with secret missions is when you assign a reward for them, because even though you think that this reward is suitable for that secret mission and you think that this equates equally, players don't really see it that way. You know, it's not like you can explain to them. They will assign values to rewards that are different to what's in your brain. Sometimes assigning rewards for secret missions that are different for the players' characters isn't always going to work very well. Some people don't respond well. The other thing is that just because a dungeon master assigns a secret mission or something that's very specific to that character, whether it's a side quest or it's linked into the adventure, which I prefer, linked into the main quest, players from time to time do this themselves and they don't tell the dungeon master. This has happened to me. I'm like, I didn't understand what they were doing. It wasn't obvious to me. And they knew that they had to be as subtle as possible so that no other players figured out what they were up to and that I didn't know. And then they only reveal at the very last minute and we're all like, did you know about this? And I was like, no, I don't know anything about this. I had no idea. A good example of this is Joe Manganiello in his decision to try to steal the hand of Vecna in Critical Role. Yep. Matt Mercer had no idea what was going to happen. And none of the people in the group, none of the players had any idea that he was going to decide to have his character steal a hand and then, of course, attach it to himself. Of course, Joe, well done. You had your secret mission, you were successful, and nobody else was the wiser. Now, they were fine with it, although it was a bit of a shock to the system. But, you know, you put it in another group and it could unwind quite in a bad way. So I'm always a little concerned when players insert these things, and you'll never know when they've inserted them or not. That's the problem. What I do know is, and I agree with Josh, and that is, if you're going to have secret missions, it's fine to have them secret from the characters, but it's probably best not to have them hidden from the players. I find it's probably best to have that out in the open. Because as soon as you start doing that sort of thing, I don't know, for whatever reason, people start getting jealous and it does create conflict sometimes. So it's better to let all the players know this is what's going on and just let's say, look, I just want you to role play your character as if you don't know this. You know it, but your character doesn't. Can you do that? And if they say yes and they can't do it, well, it's okay. It should be pretty obvious as you're playing the game. I think that secret missions do help tailor the whole story for players. It is one of those things that can be hit and miss. It might not even be up to the dungeon master in terms of how they've incorporated it into the game. I've done it so many times that I know that there will be times when it works really well, and you think, oh God, I can do that again, and then you think you did it really well the second time or the third time, and it doesn't work that way. So you're just going to accept it as a risk.
Yeah, those are some good caveats too. It can be good to have the players have them out in the open. Though I have seen the lights on their faces when a session ends, and they say, "All right, who hit DM? Did I complete the mission? Was that good enough?" Or they like compare. Like that can be fun. And some missions you could do like thresholds, like get 3 kills, 6 kills, 9 kills, and you get like degrees of rewards. Or you could have like long-term rewards too, like like steal the hand of Vecna as your grand goal, something like that. Maybe you have that one from like day one of the campaign. There's certain fun things you could do. There are risks, like you were saying, so thank you for giving those caveats. And another thing is, if you're not careful, you could get players to fixate on weird things and spend too much time on something in game. If you did a goal of like try to figure out the true name of this NPC that uses a code name, and so you sit there like, so what's your name? No, and like 5 minutes later, you're like, can we move on? Like, sorry, it didn't work out. Because that's the other thing is they might not always complete their goals. And if it's like a timely one, like you're going to leave and that NPC is not going to be available anymore, they're going to be casting like Scrying and Dream and augury and all these things to like try to figure out the NPC's name for forever until they get it because they want to complete the mission. There is some caveats to make sure you do it well. To make it be fun and reinforce the behavior you want to see. I also realized this can also be like free to play games where you have like your daily quests to like keep you coming back so that you want to play every day and you don't fall behind on your free to play rewards. So that you can make a D&D have those free to play addiction type mindsets. In the comments section, let us know what you think about secret missions. Have you used them before? Does it sound fun to you? Do you want some more advice on it? Let us know in the comments and we'll see you in the next question. Thank you.